Let's
Mhm.
kind of go down the list and talk about some of those early in-state players for 2024 that have emerged. Who are some of those guys that Nebraska fans should know?
Yeah, so I guess when we were talking about must get guys, I totally forgot one. This is my bad. And this guy would go into the must get guys category absolutely, and that's tight end Carter Nelson out of Ainsworth. That's my bad. So Carter is a national recruit when it comes to being a tight end. Everyone, it feels like every college football coach in the region, especially, has been up to Ainsworth during the contact period to see him play basketball or to visit the school. Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame was up there. That was a big deal when he went out there. There are a number of other coaches that went up there. That is going to be a huge test for Matt Rule and Bob Wager to keep him home. And we know that those guys went up there during an official visit weekend, even to see him play ball. And there were all the pictures on social media and all of that. So the effort is definitely going to be there. So that's definitely, first and foremost, someone to mention. Davon Hall, the wide receiver out of Bellevue West. I kind of like him also at defensive back. I'd be interested to see Nebraska wants to keep him, if they got him, if they would want to keep him at wide receiver, if they evaluate him at defensive back, because wide receiver is always a spot where there are so many guys around the country where you could bring in. Caleb Pryform, who I mentioned earlier, as an offensive tackle, is in that must get category, but definitely someone to keep in mind. The same thing with Caleb Benning at defensive back. One guy we haven't talked about at all, Isaiah McMorris, teammate of Davon Hall and Danny Kalen, who actually has become the biggest recruit of all of those guys. Like, his recruitment is absolutely blown up. If you haven't seen any of that, Oklahoma, Penn State have offered him recently here, and I don't think that that's over. I think that he's going to continue to get more and more offers. And what I kind of picture Isaiah as he's to me, he's like Jalen Lloyd, except for all of this is happening a lot earlier than it happened for Jalen Lloyd, where Jalen kind of blew up late in the cycle and had additional offers and opportunities. But the secret is out on Isaiah. He's a really twitchy kid, could be a great slot receiver in college, and his stock is just going to continue to rise. And then we mentioned Danny Kalen, his quarterback, will continue to rise. And then the last one to mention was actually the latest offer of the 7 in-state offers for the 2024 class for Nebraska, and that's Ashton Murphy, big defensive / offensive lineman from Elkhorn South. Could be, I expect him to end up being in Nebraska's class. It just feels like those Elkhorn South kids end up at Nebraska, and it feels like they're churning out linemen left and right, which is a great thing for Nebraska. We always talk about how Nebraska needs to have those linemen, but Ashton Murphy definitely has the look of the next one.